Good morning, everybody. For those of you who have not met me yet, I'm Claudette Jordan, psychologist and functional medicine certified health coach. So today we're starting a series just talking about something that to me is incredibly important in my life, and that is a morning routine. And I know for some people that the word routine doesn't always suit your personality. It might sound like a swear word to you. Some people like to consider themselves being a little bit more spontaneous or in the moment. And so things like structure or routine, something that they naturally kind of rebel against. But if we look at the science and research, it's very clear that people who have some sort of a morning routine actually experience several benefits in terms of how their life goes and how successful they actually are. Some of the more common benefits that research shows of having a morning routine is just overall just better success, increased productivity, just because you're setting up your day in an intentional way. You have a conscious, purposeful plan that you're going about constructing, rather than the activities of your day just taking hold of you. And so many people find that their days are a lot more productive and they're a lot more successful. The second thing that the research shows about having a morning routine is that people feel a lot more in control. So levels of anxiety and stress are significantly diminished because there's a sense of just being more in control of what's happening in your day and what's happening in your life. Improved energy levels is definitely a common factor that's reported. Another benefit that has been cited from having a morning routine is just improved relationships. And I think that's a pretty obvious one. If we're all going about our days in a much more intentional way, a lot less hurried, a lot less anxious and stressed in the mornings, then that would obviously make for us being in a much better emotional space to relate more conducively with our family members, with our colleagues in our workplaces, and make for much happier relationships. So for me, I had to decide many years ago, about 5 years ago now, that taking care of my morning routine and being quite protective over it was something that was going to be something, that was going to be an aspect that I needed to really pay much attention to. And of course, being a health professional, being a mom, being a wife, you can get very easily sucked into the rat race of getting up in the morning and just going, taking care of your kids, getting them to school, getting to your patients, getting to your hospital ward rounds, and then before you know it, you're just this hamster on a wheel. And so for me, it became something that I had to intentionally decide against. That was something that I was not going to allow to take over my life, that kind of pattern that can so easily just become the typical way in which we start off our day. And so I know that not all of us are bosses of our own time. And so you might have to get your kids to school at a certain time. You might have to report to your office or to your place of work at a certain time. And so, yes, there are some factors that are not within your power to control. But it is also true that there are many, many factors about our mornings that are definitely within our power to control. So over the next few Wellness Wednesday chats, I'd like us to just maybe focus on some of those aspects. What can you control about your morning routine, and what will be helpful for you to start including that can perhaps really make a difference to your emotional and mental well-being in terms of how you set your mornings up. And maybe the first thing to consider is your evening before. Having good quality sleep, having enough sleep is so important to our overall mental and emotional well-being. and that is another topic for another time. But if you don't have good quality, restful, restorative sleep the night before, then you're already starting off your morning on the back foot. So that's just definitely something to pay attention to. So for me, some of the elements that I find are helpful in my personal routine in the morning is, for me, one of my character strengths is my spirituality. I'm quite a faith-based person. My spiritual well-being is important to me. It grounds me. Having hope and having faith is quite important to me and my family. And so that's one way in which I start off my day. So I will have I make time for a meditation and focusing on a faith-related spiritual exercise of some kind that involves reading and meditation. And then I spend some time doing some journaling, and I would either do that journaling at home or I piggyback it on something that I do as well almost daily, which is go for a morning walk. And I'm fortunate that I just live, as you can see where I am right now, I live just right near the ocean. But when I didn't live here and I lived in a suburb, I would go for a morning walk around my suburb. And yes, it was a bit hustling and bustling with cars and traffic, but it was still great just to get the fresh morning air and the trees around my suburb. And so I still did my morning walk. And then I use that morning walk time often also to do my research for my for work for my patients. So listen to my podcasts. It's also helpful to me that one of my other character strengths is love of learning. So it's not just only my preparation for work and for my patients, but it also fuels me to learn and to listen to the latest research and to read literature and to listen to podcasts. And then sometimes I would just pause, on my walks and just find a quiet spot to sit and just do some breathing and relaxation exercises. The other thing I do sometimes on my walk is piggyback some of my mom duties, like at the end of my promenade is a spa. So if I need to do some of my fruit and veg shopping for the day, I do that at the same time. So I'd walk and go and get some of my veggies and come back, so that I know that my goodies that I need for the day for my cooking and stuff is done. And also adds a little bit of kilos to my walking, so I get a bit of resistance in there as well. So it helps me to maximize my time as well. Yeah, so I do know that not all of us have the luxury of hours in the morning, but that doesn't mean that you can't set up your morning in a way that's still conducive in terms of what you can actually do to change the pace. Like I said, for me it started off many years ago by making that first intentional decision that I wasn't going to be a rushing woman that was going to go from getting up in the morning, climbing out of bed, rushing to do my kids' breakfast, lunch, rushing them to school, rushing to work, and that wasn't going to be how I was going to set up my day. And so even if for you it means having to get up half an hour earlier or going to bed half an hour earlier the night before, so you can have a bit of time in the morning just to set your day up intentionally. And we'll talk through in the next few videos some of what would be useful to do in that morning time that can help you just to lessen the stress, help you be more in control, and tap into some of this productivity, energy, mental clarity, improved memory, and success that other people who have a morning routine are benefiting from.